The Bodhisattva refers to significant events happening. Nothing positive is happening. This faith doesn't shine brightly. There's no light cloud. He has great compassion, but can't add light clouds. When adding light clouds, at least significant events are happening. Breaking a bottle of namelessness. This event occurs. Truly being of one heart and one wish with the Buddha, sharing the same virtues and walking the same path. Right in this section, there's no excess of joy or anger. This is true reality. So the development of Sihong and Shiyang is about governance. Kitigaba Bodhisattva's vows are complete. The ultimate vows. I won't become a Buddha. He must help those suffering in hell. Compassion reaches the very foundation. He aims to help all the suffering beings in hell, let alone the others. Suffering and entangled beings. So, after Shakyamuni, Buddha read it. Maitreya Bodhisattva hasn't been born yet. The gap in this period is just too long. In such a long time, there's no Buddha guide us. The suffering of sentient beings, we can't imagine. Don't the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have compassion? Yeah. What to do then? The Buddha entrusted Kitigaba Bodhisattva with teaching sentient beings as his representative. Completely entrusted to Kitigaba Bodhisattva. When the Buddha isn't in the world, Kitigaba Bodhisattva is the representative of Shakyamuni Buddha, you know. In this world, nothing has been entrusted to other Bodhisattvas. Regarding this matter, entrusted to the earth, your majesty. So, it's clear then. After the world-honored one has passed away, before Maitreya comes into the world, for all sentient beings, what method should be used to teach the Kitigaba Bodhisattva's Fundamental Vows Sutra? This is what world-honored instructed. Kitigaba Bodhisattva, entrusted by the world-honored one. He truly took on this responsibility himself, not letting Shakyamuni Buddha down. Compassion is foundational. We need to. Great compassion, shining clouds. On the Dharma flag, seek to draw down. To attain, to cultivate one's own body-mind throughout life. The third line, strike the light of wisdom clouds. This is also what we base our practice on. No matter what you're studying, which method, without wisdom, so it can't be achieved. It's essential to rely on wisdom. Where does wisdom come from? Let me tell you, wisdom definitely isn't just about book learning. As I listened and read, I remember a lot. That's the cleverness of the world. The sutras talk about how it can change and become wise. The change in the world comes from the Buddhist path. One of the 8 difficulties. You've encountered a hardship. Why is that? Don't get caught up in what you're holding on to. What you're attached to has become an obstacle. Obstacles, you realize your true nature. Obstacles prevent you from being settled and block your understanding. Where does wisdom come from? Wisdom must come from meditation. Where does meditation come from? Meditation must come from observing the precepts. This is called snow on a mountain that doesn't melt. While the Mahayana teachings don't place much emphasis on the formal precepts, the minister said it's the precepts of the mind that are truly important. Is it even more extraordinary than actions? You really have to get stuck in. Meditation is about having a pure heart. Meditation is staying calm, not attached. Meditation means not getting attached to the outside. Senses meet conditions. That's skill. Our 6 senses meet the 6 stimuli, leading to thoughts and distractions. Real practice is when our 6 senses interact with the 6 stimuli. This is where the real effort lies. Where does true practice happen? It's in how the 6 senses engage with the 6 external conditions. We chant the Buddha's name. This method's great. The moment a thought arises, it's Amitabha Buddha. It's turned around. You're about to become Amitabha Buddha. In this, the 3 studies of precepts, meditation, and wisdom are all present at the same time. We can fix it. You'll get punished for that, following precepts. When you see something outside that you fancy, that's when the greedy thoughts start to stir. Turn it around. When you face a bad situation and feel unhappy, Amitabha Buddha can turn things around. As long as you can turn it around. We accept the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha teaches us to do it this way, so we just do it. That's the way of the world. Master, after coming over here, no longer paying attention to all the conditions, turning back to chant the Buddha's name. Review. With a single-minded focus, we become one with Amitabha Buddha, and the meeting is right there. So those who don't understand the practice of study in the midst of it all, just look at the 3 studies of precepts, meditation, and wisdom. A single thought is complete. Women know how to settle down, don't they? Then, the chef's kindness towards others naturally comes out. So the effort we put into our practice is our foundation. Even the slightest hint of concealment shows on your face, your shadow self. Every little move you make, really. It's all about the strength of your practice. How can you hide? It's the same inside and out. It's all about the art of tea drinking for the foolish in this world. Because people can't see through it. They'll be fooled by you. A truly wise person, you can hide it. Everything in the books becomes clear. Yeah. This is what we call great wisdom. It's what we rely on for our practice. The fourth chapter, the great prajna, light. Not insulting and commanding. Sometimes the meanings are the same. But when these two are put together, of course, there are differences in meaning. Outdated, like what's said in the Prajnaparamita Sutra about realizing wisdom, contemplating the words of wisdom, wisdom. So we interpret this great wisdom as the meeting of morality, meditation, and wisdom. The meeting, after all, includes definition. Morality doesn't have meditation, and it doesn't have wisdom, but meditation has morality. It's the electrical trade. A person with meditation won't let things slide. Gongji, dance, precepts bring enlightenment, meeting. So the one who keeps the precepts is more enlightened. So in a meeting like this, it's like a 3-story building. The third level must include the 2 levels below it. The level below doesn't include the one above. This doesn't include meditation, and meditation doesn't include wisdom. Meditation includes morality, and the meeting includes definition. From this point, this weakness aligns with what's said in the Prajnaparamita Sutra. Ultimate reality wisdom is the essence. It's 5 distinctions. The first is the 5 distinctions. Essence. In all things. Clear as day. But there's no distinction in there. There aren't even any distinctions. Where would there be a spider? So it's called ultimate reality. The essence of ultimate reality is the true nature. Yeah. He understands the truth. Oh dear, when we talk about thoroughly understanding the ultimate truth of the universe and life, that kind of wisdom is called ultimate reality wisdom. It takes effect when it's in action. These 2 kinds of functions. One is self-benefit, and the other is benefit to others. Self-benefit, observing the essence. So let's put it in modern terms. Observing wisdom. It's all about living a life of higher wisdom. All like the big events happening in this valley. They live a life of complete wisdom. Let's resonate with the light. Yeah. Being able to live a life of higher wisdom repeatedly is quite a rare thing, isn't it? Only when nothing do you understand observation. This official path has an overarching principle. The Buddha tells us in the Diamond Sutra that all forms are just illusions. So, regarding all phenomena, it can be without discrimination and not be attached to satisfaction. Being able to go with the flow without clinging. Everything is good. Everything is free and easy. Living each day. Being close. It's just pure joy, isn't it? Just going with the flow and being at ease. Dead. Wealth and riches, the joy of being wealthy. The joy of being poor and humble. Wealth and poverty are just two sides of the same coin. Yeah, happiness is equal and balanced. It's all about the completeness of life, the joy of living. This is about self-reflection. It's about oneself. It's about your own benefit. Yeah. The words are a bit weak. Altruistic. Is he or not? The words about helping others also include speech. Let's put it another way. This mindfulness includes matters, putting on a show for others. A manager talks, leading by example. Words are the teachings of prajna. So from this, we can see that ultimate reality wisdom is a different teaching. Born in different places, they all teach and enlighten all living beings. It's all about helping all beings. But even though ultimate reality is said to be a different teaching, there's no notion of difference in that understanding. If there's a thought that carries this meaning of difference, then that's not the true wisdom of prajna. Prajna is auspicious, marking the beginning of summer. All at once, yeah. This is what can break through all confusion. The fifth phrase, great samadhi, luminous cloud. Praise is in Sanskrit. It's just the Indian words that have come over. The meaning is called right enjoyment, normal enjoyment. It means right enjoyment. Normal enjoyment. So I tell us, the beings of the six realms, this, all sorts of enjoyment are. It's not normal. All sorts of enjoyment, yeah, they can be summed up into the 5 great paths. It's been a long time. There's suffering and there's joy. Suffering. Well, it's boundless. And so is joy. It's also boundless. Using these 2 main categories, yeah, it covers everything. This mind, yeah, we're talking about spirit. The physical part has 2 types, suffering and joy. In this part of the mind, yeah, there's worry and joy. There are these 2 types. This is the 4 main categories. When we travel around in a big category, deep, down, there's no suffering, or joy, and in the heart, there's no happiness either. This is really good. This situation is called blood enjoyment. So all up, there are these 5 main categories. The study is great, but the time is really short. Not long. Temporary, life. Learning about suffering and joy, heart and blood, and happiness. Warrior. If this evil beast is to be able to keep going, call me third sister. So, that's the positive number. So Osanmaya is also called Zen meditation. Yifan is the origin. All Buddhas and Tathagatas are forever divine beasts. So, suffering and joy are relative points. Worry and joy are also relative. The West calls it the Pure Land. We often define ourselves. It's a wrong idea. Let's define the joy of the West. The joy of the West is actually a mix of suffering and joy. That's wrong. It's not the path of suffering and distress. Suffering and joy, both sides are skewed. That's true downfall. So when you get to the Western Pure Land, there's none of these 5 beasts of suffering, joy, worry, and happiness. That's what you call the Pure Land. We need to understand this. Meaning, big sister. It's hard to break through all obstacles. Our new generation of scientists got it. There are many obstacles in this world. For example, what they've discovered. We live in 3-dimensional space right now. 4 dimensions, scientists confirmed 1 billion space dimensions. Master Huang Mingzu mentioned that he saw this scientific report, and he said scientists have confirmed that at least 1 billion dimensions of space exist. But if we talk about it from a Buddhist perspective, who knows? At least 1 billion dimensions of space exist. We understand how spaces arise. How would I know? We understand how these different spaces come about. We understand this principle. These different spaces. They are said to be manifested from the delusions and attachments that Buddha talked about. So we know that all beings create countless delusions and distinctions, right? It's infinite and boundless. So this space-time, it has countless dimensions, right? It's not just 10 or 20 dimensions, mate. So this is real, not fake. In this 73-dimensional space, there are still many obstacles in the environment we live in. When we talk about 3 dimensions and 4 dimensions, we're talking about the big picture, right? It's just like what we Buddhists say about the 18 scriptures. We can think of each realm as a different dimension, and that makes it just right. So the Dharma realm is 11 dimensions. But within each dimension, there are just so many, mate. It's hard to explain, mate. If you were to attain the 3 sisters, to settle in the 3 gates. All delusions, distinctions, and attachments have been completely cut off. This boundary, everything has been transcended. So the meditation skills from past lives can break through 1, or 2, layers of smaller states. With a greater level of concentration, you can break through more cities. In this situation, we know it very clearly now. There are still some practitioners to this day. Back during World War II. In the past, an old chap told me. During that time of war, he's cutting interest rates. There's a Taoist in that place called Jaxing. Hey, this Taoist has some supernatural powers, and he's actually got some solid meditation skills. The place he lived in was quite low-lying. This Taoist told him to move house. He said that in a few days, they need to check the water. The Taoist also registered and lived nearby, so he sent someone to check it out. By April, around lunchtime, he even arranged a special car, and sure enough, it matched the time he mentioned. Right. There wasn't a single sign to be seen. The result was that the flash flood was truly different. So he understood about death. Again and again, it seeps through. Not long after that, the Taoist told him he saw a place where war broke out. Tell him roughly which direction and how far away it is. He saw it. So this old chap, he was a soldier, a senior officer. He said what the Taoist was talking about was wrong. He hadn't heard anything like that. 3 months went by. The Japanese are stealing secrets. So, just tell him about this direction, and give an example of the situation. He saw it 3 months ago. You can see that this time, past, present, and future exist simultaneously. It's a small kind of stillness, not a big stillness. It can break through 3 months of time, and he can see clearly what happens 3 months later. So, in that little house deep in the mountains, he can see thousands of miles away, like, Pearl Harbor. He can even see Hawaii. Snore! So, what's circulating in the market now is that biblical code, and it can see 3,000 years into the future. Its level of stillness is way beyond that of a Taoist. This Taoist can only see a few months or years ahead. He can only see the environment a few thousand miles away. Such a state of being, samadhi, it's beyond imagination, It can break through all obstacles. It can break through all obstacles. The Tathagata's delusions, distinctions, and attachments are completely severed. All obstacles. The Tathagata's delusions, distinctions, and attachments are completely severed. So, his abilities are complete. Go in, or it might change the realm. All-knowing, all-powerful. We understand this principle. So when the Buddha speaks, we believe you. What he says is true, not false. He really does have that ability. He has this ability, and so do we. The reason we've lost this ability today is that we haven't found our position. In our hearts, we're constantly caught up in a heap of delusions, distinctions, and attachments. It's a loss, right here. We really need to awaken, yeah? We need to understand. Alright, we'll wrap it up here for today. The phrase Amitabha is a revered term in Buddhism, often used as a form of meditation or prayer.
Amitabha. 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 The great. Amitabha. 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 Amitabha.